Hey everyone, it's Colleen with Made for Mermaids. Welcome to day 4 of our Poppy Sew Along. Today we're going to be sewing up our skirt side seams, attaching our optional ruffle, and then attaching our skirt to our bodice pieces. First up will be our skirt side seams. You're going to want to match up your side seams as well as your pocket seams. So remember that you won't sew straight down if you attach the optional pockets. Instead, you'll match up the raw edges around the outside of the pockets. I highly recommend doing the top and bottom of the pocket in a stretch stitch on your sewing machine before you run the side seam through your serger. This just makes it a little bit easier because especially right at the top and right at the bottom of the pockets, those are really sharp turns to make on your serger. So I go about 2 inches, not quite 2 inches, maybe a half an inch to an inch above where the pocket begins. And then I go into the pocket about an inch or an inch and a half or so. And I just do that with a stretch stitch, and then I do the same thing at the bottom of the pocket, and then after that I can run it through the serger, but I won't have to be quite as precise along that corner since it's already sewn up. Once I finish with all 4 of those pocket edges, I'm going to run my side seams through the serger. I'll use a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, except where I've already sewn those corners. So I'll get as close as I can, but I'm not going to worry about making that exact sharp turn. You can turn it right side out just to check your work, and as you can see, we have a pocket, and then we'll repeat those same steps on the other side. If you're skipping the ruffle, you won't need to do this step, of course. The first step for creating the ruffle is to sew the short edges of your ruffle together. So we'll do this with right sides facing each other and a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And we'll need to do this on both sides. One thing you want to check is to make sure that your ruffle pieces do not get twisted before you sew them together. And now comes the tedious part of actually doing our gathering stitches to make the ruffle. I know this can be cumbersome, but the end result is always so worth it. We do have a helpful blog post that I will link in today's blog with lots of helpful gathering tips, but my favorite is to just do 2 rows of basting stitches. I forgot where my head was for a minute and started gathering, when what I really wanted to do was match up the side seams of my ruffle piece with the side seams of the skirt before I started gathering. So I'm not going to worry about undoing my gathering already. I'll just make that the back of the skirt, and then I'll go ahead and match up my side seams and then the quarter points as best I can, even though I've already gathered, so that might make it a little bit more challenging, but that'll be the back of the skirt and we won't worry about it. Once your ruffle piece is clipped in place, you just want to gently tug on those basting stitches to gather the ruffle to fit the raw edge of the skirt. So make sure the right sides are facing each other, and then just gather those stitches to meet the raw edge of the skirt. As you're gathering, pin or clip in place. You may need to adjust as you go along to make sure that you have the ruffle as even as possible. It's nearly impossible to get it perfect, but get it as evenly distributed as you can. After you serge or attach your ruffle with the stretch stitch, you can go ahead and take out those basting stitches. Our last step for today is to attach the bodice to our skirt. I'm going to turn my skirt inside out with the waist facing up, and then I'm going to take my bodice and match up the side seams. So right sides will be touching right sides, and I'll match up the raw edge of the bodice, so the bottom raw edge of the bodice to the raw edge of the skirt waist. So I'll clip my side seams together and then match up the quarter points. Attach the bodice to the skirt piece with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Again, you can use your serger or a stretch stitch on your sewing machine. Once you've attached your bodice to your skirt piece, we are all done with day 4. Now all we have left to do is attach our buttons and then hem our skirt. We will see you tomorrow for day 5. See you then.